Hello everyone, this is Cool Cat Jazz coming back at you from my jazz room. As you probably just seen was a slideshow of me building these speakers. Wonderful speakers, the best ones I've owned so far. And you know, they compete with some really expensive speakers out there. Again, these are the JBL 100s. A little history about them. They came out in 1970. I think they sold roughly 180,000 units, man, believe it or not. These things are everywhere. Like I explained in the earlier video, I've lived like in 7 to 8 different states, man, and I always used to see them in the Goodwill, and I never picked them up, man. And I finally did some, did some research, and sure enough, I was able to pick a pair up. Now these things are, they ruled the 1970s. Everybody had them. Almost every recording studio in the world had them. There's pictures of, Pete Townsend and Brian Eno, Phil Collins, and pictures of them just hanging everywhere in people's recording studios. But they're awesome for rock and roll. They really, thumped your chest in. But they had, for modern wise, it's still, it lacked some mid and definitely the voices. Again, let me see here. I'll show you. That's right there are the original cabinets. So, if you see them and you happen to listen to them and you don't like them, excuse me, don't judge them. And the reason why that is because everywhere I read, now you see my system, it's pretty much all DIY. I got tons of capacitors, resistors, coils, transformers, all kinds of stuff in my stock. And everything that I read about capacitors is the lifespan ranges anywhere from 15 to 30-year max. I have not seen anything that tells me that capacitors last more than 30 years. So, these JBLs are, at least the original ones there are pushing 47, 50 years, man. And I think in my previous video you saw me moving the adjustments on there on those crossovers, and they were just rusted out. And these speakers looked like they were it looked like somebody had them in storage and just never pretty much used them. Even still, those polytensioners in there were completely rusted out. You couldn't hardly move them. All this stuff just started flying everywhere when you adjusted them. So if for some reason they're muddy and and you don't like them, man, it's just a quick fix with crossovers, man, and just a modern take on them. The woofers, the mids, and the tweeters are out of this world, man. They're highly touted. Very sought after. So again, if you see them at Goodwill or on Craigslist, man, if you want some nice speakers, please pick them up, man. You won't be disappointed. Again, these are the new cabinets there. Now I've used 3/4 inch plywood with MDF, and I also mentioned in a previous video that I wasn't too happy about certain things with the plywood, or things I wasn't really too happy with, and I'll show you what I mean. When I started cutting the plywood, see how it chips off there? Well, I got this maple plywood at Lowe's, and my SUV is only so big, so they sell these sheets in 4x8, so I had them cut it down the size where I didn't lose too much material. And this was, see that line going straight down there like that? That's that's unfortunate. It's not their fault. That's just the way the thing. I guess the business is. But my advice to you is, if you're gonna build speakers, don't go to Lowe's or Home Depot to buy plywood. Their MDF is awesome, stuff like that. But if you want a really nice, some really nice plywood with zero voids and some wonderful veneer, go to a lumber yard. The prices are, you're gonna pay probably about $30 more per sheet, but you only need, I just used one sheet for these speakers. Really, I think it was like $50. So really worth it. Like I said, it's not that bad, but when you do something, you got to do it right, and that's where I messed up. Now I can live with it, for now at least. So let me see. Let me see what else. Like I said, some people still use the original cabinets, and you know, this was pretty much my first attempt at building speakers, and you know, I'm pretty happy with it. I built these in the garage. I wish they were a little tighter. There's a little things, you know, like little aesthetic things that I could have done a little better, but I built these. It's winter here in Colorado, man, and for some reason, when I was fucking working on these things, it was 20 degrees outside, man, and my garage was goddamn cold, man. I was out there with gloves. You know, it was not a fun time building these speakers, man. It was really cold. My wife was like, "You're absolutely insane." So, again, about the cabinets, you know, you see the 3 braces. Everything I've read, if you've seen like the really expensive speakers, they had tons of bracing for some reason. I think those BMW, the new 800 series. I was looking at that video on how they constructed that, and that thing had like 8 or I don't know 6 or 7 braces in there, man. This one just has 3. So that's another thing. And of course, you know, I didn't come up with this design. The design is from a guy called Troel Grevensen in Denmark. This guy is a speaker building god, man. If you go to his website, and I'll put a link on it below, man, you could build whatever friggin' speakers you want, man. He has 3 ways, you know, 2.5 way, 2-way open baffles, you know, vintage, you know, VIFA, peerless. I mean, you know, he even breaks it down into the, you know, the liters, which is the size, and minis, and that guy's just amazing speaker builder. Now, what I did was I kind of figured out his crossover for these JBL. Now, most of his stuff on his website is free. You get the value for your crossovers, but for some reason, these JBLs, which, you know, I can't blame them, dude. Like I said earlier, they sold 180,000 units, man. So these speakers everywhere. He probably make some money, you know, good for him. But I kind of figured out with calculators and stuff like that, figured out what he was trying to do with the crossovers. I got it, I got it pretty much where I want it. So you had the option of his, and his is only like 200. But I think the cheapest one is like 235 bucks. But I already had most of the components. But I got tons of crap laying, you know, in my stock. So I didn't feel like paying $235 just for a schematic. You know, but if you're not good at that, you know, go ahead and pay the guy, man. I mean, you will not be disappointed. That's one option. And then there's another crossover, which is just straight DIY from a couple of guys, and that's called the Murphy design. That is absolutely free. I think it was on audioholics.com. Those guys are on there, and it, you know, I would like to do a comparison. So I'm not sure. I think I printed it out. I got it upstairs. The plans for that crossover. So let's see what else. So as you've seen my crossovers for this, I had to change it around a lot. You know, before the capacitors were, if you look at the crossovers, the big round capacitors were sticking up. You know, I had to lay those flat so I could get you know, as much air, you know, so there wouldn't be any constriction going down into that final chamber, you know, below. So I flattened out the capacitors. I also had to buy new coils, so I bought Ertz coils for the mid ranges, better quality than what I had there. And I think the final price for both crossovers for this was about $375. You know, a little expensive, but you know, it just, you know, it's well worth it. So another thing I did was I built the stands. Now these stands, you know, these JBL speakers need to be at a 5-degree tilt. I just threw that together, man. It's MDF and just a block I had. You know, like I said, it's winter here, man. Actually, it's nice this week, man. It's like 60 degrees. They're saying it's gonna be 70 degrees in this Friday, man. It's absolutely insane here in Colorado, man. But I'm not building anything else in the winter. I'm gonna replace those. I'm gonna go out and buy some nice wood and build me some nice speaker stands. So what else? Well, that Troel Grevensen. Now, the speakers before I found these JBLs, I was going to build his DTQWT speakers. Apparently, I was having a conversation with a guy that, I mean, he said those things are just out of this world, man. And I think the price on those Troel speakers, I think last time I looked, I was going to build them like a year ago, but you know, I had other financial obligations. Those were around $2,000 with the speakers and the material and everything. It was roughly about $200,000. I had no idea how much they go for now, but you know, take a look at their website, man. And next is, what's the difference between my new JBLs and my Axiom M60s? You know what? I've had Axiom speakers. If you're into speakers, if you're not into DIY, they're highly recommended, man. These things lasted me over a decade. I think I bought them, you know, I need to look it up, because I bought them when The Gladiator with Russell Crowe, when that DVD came out. And these replaced a pair of Bose that I had. I know, don't judge me. I had Bose speakers, just like the majority of you guys. But these Axiom just blew them away. And I remember specifically what they did. There was that scene in Gladiator when Russell Crowe's walking in the wheat field and he brushes his hand. You know, he brushes the hand. And the Bose, you couldn't hear his hand brushing those wheats, the wheat. And these Axioms, it was like crystal clear, man. You felt like his hand touching the wheats. These are awesome speakers, but I think, you know, now that I'm a little bit older, playing just music, they could get nasal. You know, after about an hour, it's like, you know, I don't want to listen to music anymore. The highs are really like ear piercing to me now, and of course, you know, the big elephant in the room, man. It's that right there. That 12-inch woofer with agua coating, you know, there's no way that these two right here can produce that. Now, you could probably measure them, and they probably come out the same, but, you know, there's things you just can't measure, man. That bass is deep, it's tight, and my wife feels it like 2 floors up. I'm in my basement, and I was playing music, and she was taking a shower with running water, man. She felt that bass in the shower. The mids are perfectly balanced. The tweeters are just amazing, man. And you know you have something special when they could produce a female voice like nothing else, man. These speakers just blow my Axioms. I mean, I could listen to this. I was listening to music the other day like 3 hours, man, and I just went up like nothing, dude. I can't do that with the Axioms anymore. You know, again, if you're young and you know, you want to buy a pair of speakers, the Axioms are one of the best speakers you can buy at that price range. Now, I have no idea what they go for now. These are the M60s. I paid $800 up for them, so it was a wonderful investment. But you know, I'm looking for a different sound. So that's the difference between that, and I'll play some music here in a little bit. But coming back to this, and I want to talk to you guys about DIY, your DIY option, man. You do not need a lot of money to create good sound, man. Don't you know, don't sell yourself short, man. When I constructed these, I needed like a really, because you know the veneer is really thin on these on this plywood here, so I needed a really high grit sandpaper, round ones, where I could see. I had to put oil because I oiled them. I used was it tung oil? Yeah, I think I used tung oil. And then with the really fine grit, you sand it all together, and it just made it look like a mirror. Now, I could have added like lacquer and have it shiny, but I didn't want a shiny speaker, so I just wax polished it. You know, bought the what's that? The Minwax wax paste, and I threw it on there, and they came out beautiful, man. So, but when I went to buy the when I went to buy the sandpaper, it was over at Woodcraft. And I struck up a conversation with those guys, and I took my plans just to see what they thought, and they were highly interested, man. So if you're like me, I have a 3-car garage, so I can build anything I want. But if you live in an apartment or you don't have the space, man, just go to your local woodcraft, man, or your Rockler, and whatever you like, you could print out. If you go to Trailgrove Vincent or whatever site, there's tons of DIY speakers out there, man, to fit anybody's taste, man. Just print off, the plans out and go ask them, man. There's some really nice people in this world, man, and altruism is at its finest when it comes to the audio community, man. So go there and ask them. Even if they charge you $200-300 to build the thing, you'll come out way ahead, dude. You cannot beat DIY. The price to play thing is, you cannot buy anything commercial that will beat your DIY, man. And what was I gonna tell you? And oh yeah, and I was, don't listen to reviewers, man. These professional reviewers, man, they drive me fucking insane, dude. They are just, to me, they're con artists. Take everything they review with a grain of salt, man. I was listening to this one reviewer, and he said something like $10,000 is nothing in today when buying audio equipment. I'm like, $10,000 for a fucking pair of speakers? Now, I'm sorry, man. These things right here cost me under $500, dude. And by the time you get 10 grand for speakers, 10 grand for your turntable, amp, you're looking at 100 grand, man. Nah, it's not happening, dude. Reviewers, I quit listening to them because they're fucking biased, dude. They get sent all the stuff for free. Most of the stuff they never pay retail for it. Even if they get 20% or 30% or 40% off, fuck that. I gotta pay retail for your shit, and then I gotta take your word for it. Not happening, man. That's why when you review stuff, you see these reviewers review stuff, they never compare it with anything in its price range. It's always like, well, I don't want to compare it. I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. This thing is wonderful. By the way, this fucking goddamn record cleaner is $5,000, and there's a bet. It's really good. Compared to something else, man. They never give you like, okay, you know what? This product fucking sucks. Don't buy it. You will never hear, excuse me, a reviewer say that. Why? Because they'll never get the stuff again. So every time they fucking review something, they're so biased. I think I was reading somewhere there's like a law that they go by. I should have downloaded it. But, it's one of those things where, like I said, actually, the other day, I was looking at this. Sorry, this is my little rant. But, I have this cartridge right here, and I need to be retipped. Let me see where it is. That is a Dynavector, what is it, 20X2, right? I need to get it retipped. That's probably one of the best cartridges I have in here. But I was looking up a review on this, and the fucking guy was like comparing it to like, he was comparing it to like $200 or $300. This thing right here is like $1,000, right? This guy was comparing this thing with like cartridges like that were like $200-300. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. What are you talking about? And then he compared it with a $1,400 one. Why don't you compare this with something in this similar price range and tell me which is better? But then they'll tell you they'll give some bullshit like it's a little bit wider than this, but the other one's this. They never just say buy this one. This one's better than the other one. It's fucking, they're so full of shit, man. That's why I don't listen to reviewers. Trust your own ears, or trust someone in your friend or your audio community, that's around you. Don't ever trust them. I mean, like I said, they're full of shit. So, again, these speakers right here, I built for myself. This is the way I want to listen to music. Don't let anybody tell you what to listen or what to look for. You make up your own decision. That's the whole point of DIY, man. Basically, is to tune or get the sound that you're looking for. When I came up with the Lenko turntable here. You know, I had tons of people tell me, you know, what's wrong with the Riga? What's wrong with, well, you know, the Riga, my Riga 25, which I can't sell for some reason. That's another thing. If you had something of high value, man, don't give it away, dude. I was offered like $500 for my Riga turntable, and the thing is like $1,500 worth all the thing. I'm like, no, sorry, dude. And the guy got mad. I was like, nah, I'm not going to give you my shit away, dude. But, you know, the Lenko and the Riga is a magnificent turntable, man. I still have it there, my Riga P25. But, you know, I'm looking for a different sound. So, you know, I can't tell you here, this right here is better than my Riga or vice versa. You know, whatever you like, man. Whatever sound you're looking for, you know, stick with it, man. Don't let anybody tell you different, man. Like I said, I built this entire system for my listening pleasure, not nobody else's. You know, opinions are welcome when they're, you know, when you're respectful. I have no problems with that, man. But then again, you know, this is a system that you know, that I want. And there's, you know, I think I mentioned them before. There's a place or a guy in Japan called Kendrick Sounds. That fucking guy's an artist, man. If you look at his speakers, he does all JBLs. He redoes you know, vintage speakers, but mostly JBLs. I think you can buy the JBLs, like that one right there, like totally redone and everything for something like almost $4,000 or $3,500. I had no idea how much he charges shipping to the United States, but his speakers are art. You know, that's what he does. You know, that's what he does for a living. That's how, you know, they're just wonderful. But there is this JBL 4311. Now I'll put the link below, and you know, that's a sound that I do not like at all. You know, and I think it's the Macintosh amps, man. Those, if you listen to the guitar playing in that video, it's the bloominess that will drive me absolutely insane. It's like bloom, bloom, bloom. Yeah, it just hangs in the air. Bloom, 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 bloom. That will drive me up the friggin' wall, man. And I don't think it's the speakers. I'm pretty much sure it's about Macintosh amps. Now, people say, well, Mac, how can you knock Macintosh? I'm not knocking Macintosh. You know, they're wonderful. I'll probably, if I had a choice, I'll probably buy some of their old tube stuff, you know. But that bloominess, you know, a lot of people associate that with audiophile, high fidelity. That would drive me up the wall, man. That's just not my sound at all. So, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to play. Oh, yeah. And I just couldn't help it, man. Sorry, guys. I couldn't help it, but I bought a new poster. And it's one of the most iconic audio ads ever. And that's right there. I know you've seen them, man. That right there is the iconic Maxell tape ad. The guy being blown away. And guess what speaker that is, dude? Yes, you guessed it. That is... Let me see if I can zoom in here. Let me see. I got this little bloggy here. That right there. See that? That right there is a JBL L100. So, you know, I've always seen this ad and never put two. I mean, I wasn't looking for it, you know. But, yeah, I just had to get it, man. That is the most iconic audio ad ever, man. And that's a JBL L100 blowing that dude away. I think it was a Maxell cassette or tape that came out with that iconic ad. So, that's pretty much it, guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play some music, about 4 or 5 tracks to give you a little idea. Now, I'm pretty much done. Oh my God, those tacos. Oh God. I'm pretty much done with the speakers. There's two tweaks I could still do. I could lower the upper frequency, like the tweeters. I still got an option to lower that a little bit. And the mids, I can make the mids more powerful. So those are just me unsoldering or desoldering and soldering the new resistors in. And there's 2 capacitors that I went with a lower grade because, like I said, you know, you could spend, when it comes to capacitors and crossovers, you could spend as much money as you want, man. There's there's capacitors out there that are 150, 200 bucks each, man. So, but there's two capacitors that I used that are a little bit lower grade than you know, some really top quality ones, and that could always be upgraded later. So that's it, guys. You know, keep it jazzy. Subscribe. Leave your opinions. You know, everyone's welcome. You can even criticize. You know, I don't mind it. Like I said, everybody has different tastes, man, and that's one thing that's. Oh, and I tell you another thing that I almost forgot is if you need help. I think I mentioned it earlier, man. The audio community is absolutely altruism, like 1000%. I usually go to DIYaudio.com, and if you have a question, actually they help me out with figuring out these damn crossovers. You know, if you have any questions, people there are so friendly. You know, they'll help you out with anything you need. So DIY Audio, man, I love the people there. Fabulous community. Everybody's so helpful. I even traded. I think I had some capacitors I traded to get some of this stuff. Now, my coils are all wax foil coils, which I got at an amazing price, man. I can't believe, you know. I got one, two, three, four wax coils, and then the coils going to the mids is actually not an air coil. It's one of these ERTs, which are long. I think they're iron core or something like that. But some of the best coils out there. So I like I said, it ended up being $375. So so that's it, guys. I'm gonna check out here, and I'm gonna play some music for you guys. 3 or 4. Like I said, comments, thumbs up or thumbs down. You know, I love you all. Don't hate, goddammit. So peace and keep it jazzy.